What's happening? Welcome to today's video. I'm Brian K, and today we're going to talk about basically triads, okay? Major triads to be particular. Today's going to be about major triads and how we can start putting these into our blues and rock solos, right? And using them, okay? But using them in a new and exciting way. Let's put it that way. How you can kind of trick out using your triads. And before we get into it, I do want to say, if you dig the content that I bring out here, you like the videos I'm making, let people know about the channel, share the video. If you're not a subscriber to the channel, right, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, like and share, okay, because that really goes a long way to helping the channel and, help me keep bringing the content out here. Of course, also check out my links, wherever that is, up there, down here, whatever platform, Rumble, YouTube you're on. I have links in the description to things that help me support the channel also, so check that out as well, okay? And with that, let's get into the lesson, okay? So we're looking at major triads and how can we pull these triads into like our blues. And today's a key of G kind of day, okay? We're in the key of G today, and we're looking at major triads in the key of G. So we're looking at basically, going to look at our one chord triad, which is going to be the G chord, a G major triad. Now, this shape is real simple. It's going to be the root note, the major third, and then the fifth of the chord. That's your triad right there. I mean, a big G chord is just going to be root notes, thirds, and fifths repeated in different places, but it's only those three notes. So if you have a big bar chord like the G major bar chord right here at the 3rd fret that we all know and love, right? You just have these three roots, thirds, and fifths repeating themselves in some instances. You have more than one root, a couple of fifths. But in this particular shape, you just have 1/3 in this particular shape. But where do those notes live? Okay, it's really not that hard to find them. If we look at the low E string, right, we have a G note on the 3rd fret, low E. Then we have the major third right here, the B of the chord, the major third of G. It's going to be, 2nd fret of your A string, and then you got a 5th up here, up at the 5th fret of the A string. And we've all heard that, go to the dog track or whatever, right? You hear that. Okay. It's a major triad, okay? Now, most folks, when they get into learning triads or arpeggios, okay, because we're just arpeggiating our triad here, when you play it melodically like that, you're doing it one note at a time instead of playing the whole chord, which is the harmonic thing, the harmonic structure. But we're not doing that, we're just melodically outlining that chord with a triad or arpeggio. But most folks, when they learn an arpeggio like this, right, if they go through their triad, their chord, they're going to learn it in a block only usually. That's how this will go. And in this position, right, it's basically just outlining the big old bar chord, really, adding a 3rd right here before we get to the 5th. And that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you really want to be able to start using triads more functionally and more creatively and kind of hipper, you want to start thinking about them diagonal, okay? A diagonal. Get out of the block and start cruising in a diagonal fashion and get into the different neighborhoods of where this arpeggio triad is going to be living, right? And it's not that hard to do. Think about your octaves, right? If you know your octaves, I'm just hitting G notes, but I'm playing 2 octaves here off the low E string, which gives me 3 G notes. So basically I have 3 launch pads, right, that I can connect in a diagonal fashion and connect to make a big triad arpeggio that's going across like, what we got, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 6 fret span, okay, in guitar land here. When we get to that 5th, our triad, the root, the 3rd, the 5, well, lo and behold, there's another, right, your octave, there's another G note right here on the 5th fret of the D string right above that 5th. So, rinse and repeat, okay? Take the shape, start thinking in shapes, okay? Take the shape and just duplicate it. It's the same spacing, it's the same shape. It's just living an octave higher now with the G note at, 5th fret of your D string, then you have that major third chiliccating on the 4th fret of your G string, and then you go up to the 7th fret of the G string, you have the 5th. Okay, the G, the B, and the D, which are the 1, the 3, and the 5 of your G major chord. And then when you get here, because of the tuning, right, all these other strings so far tuned to 4th, right, the only one that's different is the G to B, that's tuned to a major third, so you have to sharp that to get the same distance. So instead of it being on the same fret like it lined up here on the 5th fret with the 5th of the first triad, and then the root note being on the same fret there on the string higher, this one, you have to go a fret higher. So when you play your arpeggio in this position, your G major triad, instead of it being directly on top like it was before, you have to go 1 fret up, okay? That's all, just an adjustment, but you have the same thing again. It's the same spacing, it's the same shape. Right? The G note at the 8th fret of the B string to the 3rd, the B note that's living here at the 7th fret of the high E, and then you have your D note up there at the 10th fret of the high E. So, same shape. And now you have this big, gigantic diagonal shape that is a lot more functional to be able to start using this, because you can use this as a launch pad to help you play some cool guitar lines in your blues or your rock and roll songs, but for sure we're looking at basically a blues application right now. You can put these in there, okay? Now, where else can you play this diagonal shape? Well, there's another cool spot to do these arpeggios as well, which is going to be off of the G note up here on the 10th fret of the A string. See, there's your arpeggio an octave higher than where we were before. It's that arpeggio that lives here in G that we played before off of the 5th fret with the G note on the D string. It's just being played up here on the 10th fret of the A string. Same notes, same pitch. So we're in the same pitch register, right? And then you can get another one of these in up here, but remember, now we're going from the G string, because here's the G at the 12th fret, there's a G note, right? On the same fret above the 5th of that arpeggio or that triad, we have the G note for the next one, but remember, we're tuned to thirds, but being as though we're tuned to a major third in this case, that's the G, that's our standard tuning, is a major third between the G and the B string. That third's living, instead of a fret lower like it was in the other shapes, right? It's on the same fret as the 5th of the last triad we just played, so it's at the 12th, or the root note. Okay, root note at the 12th fret G string, there's your G. Go to the B string, right, 12th fret, there's your third. And then cruise up to the D note that's up there at the 15th fret, right? Yep, 15th fret of the B string, so. And there's another root note right here that you could hit. Remember, here's your 5, and then we're on strings tuned to 4ths again, so you can get that extra note in. It's a nice shape right there, diagonal shape for this arpeggio, right? Or this triad, arpeggiated triad, right? So I have two very functional spots that you can get this triad shaken for G, or G chord, or any major chord you want to play this on. Just get that root note. If you want to do D, go to a D note. Same things are going to apply. Same shape. wherever you want to move it, it's movable, right? Guitar, things could be moved around. Okay, so we'll give you some musical examples so you can hear this triad in action, mixed in with some licks and other things, because you can mix this into your scales, and there's more things you can do with this triad and start making bigger chords like a major 7 or a dominant 7 chord, but we'll get into that on another installment of this concept. But right now, let's just rock out with this triad, and I'll let you hear what it sounds like when we use it, okay? Stand by. All right, so there you have it. You see that you can use this triad and you can do all kinds of cool things with it in the context of, like, you know, your guitar solos on a blues, all right? So have fun with this, rock out, and until next time, have fun playing your guitar. Peace.